Welcome back to the Sports Complex on a Wednesday afternoon. On the show today, we will talk about some NFL league meeting news coming out, kind of trickling out throughout the day. We'll get you to some of that. I want to look the quarterback position in the NFL. We've had lots of discussions about it. Where Dak Prescott may rank in this, how many positions may be open for rookies, how bad the injuries have actually been to the quarterback position this season, and how much of it's just it's not a position with a lot of great players. We'll get into all that. We'll give you some power rankings for this week in the NFL. We'll get to Patrick's Big Fat Poll of the day. Draymond Green getting into trouble once again. Nikola Jokic getting into trouble, getting ejected. The Mavs beat the Lakers. The Suns beat the Warriors. Lakers and Spurs tonight. Grizzlies, Rockets tonight. Talking some college basketball as well, or college football as well. Kobe Black makes his announcement, the 4-star DB. We'll get you that as soon as he makes his announcement. My man Jelly Ellington going to be joining the show to talk about Jelly's 11th annual Christmas Jam. All that coming up in the show, including your text messages. 512-447-3776. 512-447-3776 is the text line. We'll be getting to your questions, comments, concerns all show long. And joining me, my name is Patrick Davis. With me, as always, is Mr. Jacob Standard. You doing good?
I'm doing great, Patrick. How are you doing?
Do you know what day of the week it is today?
It is Wednesday, which I thought it was Wednesday all day yesterday, including after we cleared it up. I still thought it was Wednesday.
We cleared it up, and then he said, guys, he goes, Patrick, sorry, I got to get out of here real quick after the show. Got to make it home to see Survivor.
Absolutely have to.
Text me about 2 minutes later, says, Survivor comes on Wednesday. I'm an idiot. So that was, I knew what day of the week it was.
Yeah, I was all scrambled around. My days are all getting mixed up these days.
Yeah, but I'm also hosting a show. I'm doing we're doing the Christmas Jam on Thursday. So I've had to know kind of more of like, okay, how much time do I have for that? And
that's the sad part is I had meetings scheduled this morning. That should have been my first tip off yesterday that it is not Wednesday.
No, did you have a part where your brain was just trying to get past the meeting? So it'd be like, well, today's Wednesday. We've already done the meetings. Let's go to Thursday. No meetings.
Just, when lunch happened, I just skipped over Wednesday. It was like, oh, we're already in Wednesday afternoon. We're good.
Reset. Okay. We did mention the league meetings are happening for the NFL right now in Arlington, I believe. So we're getting some news kind of trickling out. They've talked about some rule changes that they're looking at, that the tush push, that the reports that Roger Goodell wanted to get rid of it are false.
Good.
That they said, at this point, we don't know. We don't know what we're going to do. We'll talk about it, but nothing there. They said kickoffs, we don't really like still, and we don't, we keep changing the rules, and they're ceremonial now. We don't like them.
Can't do that. I think you got to keep kickoffs in the game.
I would love to have kickoffs in the game still. I think they're important, but they don't like them because of the injuries.
I'm worried we're going to move to like a 4th and 25 for like an onside or something.
That's, I think, what we're going to do, which is way more easy to pick up, which I don't like either. And I know that makes games closer, but you're like, this is supposed to be kind of a crapshoot. Sometime, every once in a while, you get it. But it's a weird play you have to practice, and it's something, that you shouldn't have to do all the time, and it doesn't normally work. And 4th and 25, you're like, well, yeah, but that's just a regular play call.
Yeah, down 2 possessions with 3 minutes to go, you should be out of the game.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're the Dolphins.
Yeah, right.
But they're talking about that as well. But a few rule changes that they are looking at in the league meetings. They've also approved a game in Brazil in 2024, the first game going to South America.
That's interesting.
So we will see this team, which teams end up going down there. I know Miami has a good fan base in South America.
Yeah, I could see that.
And so this may be a team for Miami to go play in there. You figure Jerry Jones would enjoy the culture in Brazil?
You think so?
I think Jerry Jones could enjoy Carnival and just the ladies' day. I think he could enjoy it.
I imagine they broached that subject with Jerry, and before they finished their sentence, Jerry went, no.
We like to play here in America.
We are America's team.
America's team.
No.
We like our country.
The furthest we'll go is California.
That's out of our country, Sounds like a Jerry Jones thing. The NFL but they're approving that game. They've also added 8 international games to the package. The Jacksonville international game will still continue to happen. So in 2025, there could be 9 international games for the NFL. Is this something this is something that's interesting?
How do you feel?
It doesn't bother me as much because I think that there's parts of it where don't really care. Like it doesn't affect my life a lot because I'm not playing in the NFL. I don't have to go do with it. So you just say, well, okay, I'm not watching I'm not watching every single NFL game. You have Red Zone on, you can watch and put the games in, but I'm not watching every single game. So if it's a game from 2 and it's not the Texans or the Cowboys, then it doesn't matter that there's an 8:30 game because I don't need to, I don't need to be sitting in front of the TV for 8:30 football then. And I can kind of turn it on whenever and catch up with highlights, but I don't need to watch that game. So it doesn't affect me as much. I get why they want to go get that revenue. I think for the teams, we'll see at some point where people will get more and more upset with it. But as of right now, I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to spread the game. You as people in America are trying to get more and more upset with the injuries. I think you go to other places where they may not care as much. And so you say, well, they don't care about CTE in London, so we'll just go over there.
Field conditions, that's been a big discussion.
It is. So I get, you want to talk about fantasy football wise, it can be a pain. It just doesn't affect me a ton. I can get why teams would be upset because I can get why you don't necessarily, even though you may sell more merch, I can understand why a team may not really want to, incur the cost of going overseas, trying to pick a coach, trying to figure out, okay, do we take the method where we go over there early and do team bonding and work out there and try and get over the jet lag? Or do we just have to go up there the day before and just kind of power through and get through the game? Is this a loss in a game, in a season where we're on the wild card bubble and we just lose a game to someone we shouldn't have lost to? But I think those games happen here too. So it's not a huge distraction for me.
So I like it and I dislike it. And the reason I like it is completely for selfish reasons because I am a football junkie. And on Sunday, I will try to watch every bit of football I can. Yeah. Having that game start at 8:30, I absolutely love that. I don't get my NFL Network pregame coverage, which I like watching 4 hours beforehand.
Yeah.
But having a game start at 8:30 on a football Sunday is wonderful. And you go all the way to 11 o'clock that night. Here's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
We are inching closer and closer to an international division. And I'm worried there's going to be a time in the near future where we get 4 teams put internationally, and now teams are being forced to make this trip to a home game for an international game and battle all that traveling circus and all that, where it is a competitive advantage for the team at home.
I get that. I don't think that. I just don't. The reason I don't see it happening is because I don't see the players allowing it to happen.
You don't think so?
I don't. First of all, no decent player will ever go do that. Like the good players, I don't want to go. I don't want to live there. I don't want to have to go, be in Germany and speak, and everyone speaks a different language.
No, but it's the NFL. You got dudes clamoring to get into the league. And if you open
I
up
get
4
that, but if we're
rosters,
talking, but if you're saying, cool, well, there's 4 XFL teams that everybody has to go over there and play. They're the worst games every single week. They're not worth watching. The teams are showing up. They're hungover. The games are 6-9 every single week. It's just garbage football, but there's games over there. I think it hurts the game and hurts international play more that, hey, here's your team to root for. They're going to be 1-15 every single year, and it will never get better. And we're going to draft players, and players are going to refuse to go there. So Caleb Williams gets drafted to the Rhein Fire, which was a NFL Europe team back in the day. He's not going. He's just not going. He says, cool, trade me. I'm done. I'm not
Caleb
going.
Williams is a bad example because he's already
Drake
said
May
he's
gets
not.
it. He's not going.
Drake May is definitely going.
He's not.
He would.
He's not.
All right.
I think there's not a quarterback. The top 20 quarterbacks in the NFL draft would not go overseas to play. I don't think they would. Not for a 4-year contract. I have to leave my family and my country for 4 seasons to go over and play on the worst team in the league who cannot sign one single free agent.
I mean, it might start that way, but I think once it becomes normal, I think it would just be part of it.
Unless they revolutionize travel to make it not an 18-hour flight and where you can actually go, because you've
heard Elon's trying to get people over there in like an hour.
Slingshot?
He's going to go up and use stratosphere and come back down.
Yeah. I don't know about that. And that seems a little bit more dangerous than I'd want to do over and over again.
Hey, we got a bunch of $1 million investments on that plane, Elon. Can we make sure we get it back?
Yeah, and also could we not? But hey, what's the weight limit? All right, we just send the O line on one, send the D line on another. T'Vondre Sweat on this one? Just him.
Just him by himself.
No, I get it. I don't think that's going to be in the future. I don't, because I don't think that there's a realistic path to creating a decent football team overseas. Because if they could, Jacksonville would have already done it.
So
Jacksonville would be the London Jaguars right now if they could.
And that's why they have a standing home game in
One
London.
game though, because they understand we can play one game there, and we'll be the team over there. We don't need to go. So I think you may see that teams get like an affiliate city and they play 1 to 2 games there every year. I think that's more realistic.
Well, that's why they kept Jacksonville in London this year for 2 games in a row, to see if it created a competitive advantage if they were to travel to a team that stays there. They're
that's my point.
testing that water already.
No, but that's my point. Is I could see it more of, okay, well, the Las Vegas Raiders, or because that's not a good example because they can sell tickets at home,
right?
But someone who can't sell tickets at home,
okay.
So the Chargers,
yeah, they've never really sold out that building, yeah,
and they don't even own the building. So they say, all right, the Chargers, we're going to make you the Los Angeles Chargers, and you're also the Monterrey, New Mexico. All right, Monterrey, Mexico, whatever, the Mexico City, whatever. Like, you're their team. You play 2 games in Mexico City every year. I could see that.
Yeah. No, I get where you're coming from.
I could see where it's like 2 seasons and they get 2 games of live action and one team comes over and another team comes over and you kind of rotate those and they play 2 home games overseas every year. That makes more sense to me because I think people would go, okay, I get basically a week and a half. I'm going to be overseas a year. And I'm a millionaire. I'm fine with that.
I think they're not as concerned with the quality of the product as much as they are with getting that soccer money. I think they want that. No,
I get the owners do, but the owners don't if your team's awful. And the problem is, look, I want to get into this too because we're going to talk about quarterbacks. And when you say not one of these quarterbacks would play on one of those teams, not one.
Not at first. Once it became normal, though.
But why would they want to leave America when they go? I can still play.
Because they made it to the league.
But they're not. But making it to the league and having to play—that's 2 different things. I can go play for a bad Chicago Bears, make the same amount of money, and live in America.
You didn't get drafted by the Chicago Bears, though. You got drafted by the
trade me to the Bears then. Trade me to the Bears then.
Okay.
I'm just saying they ain't gonna do it. And I mean, the more the CBA. Let's put it this way: the CBA would fight against it. So when you have to sign the CBA, they go, "We're not going over there."
Yeah.
I'm not going over there. We're not learning a new language. We're not spending the money different. We're not dealing with taxes. We're not going to deal with that. We're just not going to deal with it.
Sure.
We'll play 2 games. Fine. You got to pay us for it. But we'll have a thing where we have, cities that we go to, and then they can expand it because you can expand to 30 different cities that way.
Right.
So you could expand it more and more, but I'd see that more than anything else. Let's put it that way. I would put that more than anything else. But I do want to get to the other news that the Super Bowl has been approved. It's going to be into LA in 2027. So California gets 2 Super Bowls. In 2026 is Santa Clara.
Okay.
And then 2027 will be in LA, but it's weather. It's always going to be south and in that area.
Yeah. Well, good for California.
And those are ones where the halftime show is always a little bit worse because it's too early.
It's still a little too light outside.
Yeah, it's too bright outside.
The pyro doesn't look as dynamic. There's still sunlight.
Yeah, because they're trying to come out there and they're squinting. So it's not. Yeah, that's the main difference. Is that the Super Bowl halftime show isn't as cool because it's light outside during that.
I didn't even think about
that.
But
that's the main difference of where the place is at.
Yeah, shoot the fireworks off. Did you shoot them?
Yeah, we just put on sunglasses to see fireworks. It's a weird thing. But I do want to bring this up because this is something that I thought was interesting about Dak Prescott's rank, because we talked about the MVP polls and that Brock Purdy's up there, that Dak Prescott's up there, and you start going, okay, well, if Dak and Brock Purdy are leading the MVP race, where would they be if a team's got to pick a quarterback and you now take them kind of off of the team and you say these are just the best quarterbacks? You put them into any situation and they're the quarterback so who could pop into the Cowboys and do better than Dak Prescott? Who could be in those positions? Who could be on each team? And then where do those guys rank? And where does Brock Purdy rank? Where does Dak Prescott rank? Because right now they're leading MVP, but I don't think anybody has them 1 and 2 as the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
And so we know the conversation was last year. People were saying that Dak Prescott wasn't a top 20 quarterback, which is insane. And this was in his worst season last season of interceptions, which was an anomaly. Much better this season.
But in the same breath, they would say Josh Allen's top 5, who co-led the league in interceptions with him.
I agree. And there's difference because Josh Allen, like Dak Prescott, does not have going to drive you down the field and win you a game. Dak Prescott.
He does this year.
But I know, but he hasn't had to this year. But that's
right.
not a thing people have seen. And that's what people want to see is, oh, man, did you see the highlights
Yeah.
Did you see his highlights? And Dak Prescott highlights aren't necessarily the greatest thing because that's not what he does.
No.
But neither are Brock Purdy highlights.
Right.
So that was the question of where do we rank? And so I have my list of all 30 quarterbacks.
Okay, I've got 15.
All right, I've got all 30 because I think it just becomes hard to put into sections.
That's why I stopped at 15 because after that I was just kind of randomly placing people.
And that's my point is I was trying to go through because there's a second part to this we'll get to. But the first part we start off is Patrick Mahomes your number one quarterback.
Absolutely.
So we go there. Who's your number two quarterback?
Joe Burrow.
So I don't have Joe Burrow there anymore. And there's two reasons for that.
Okay.
Joe Burrow is my number 3.
Okay.
Joe Burrow is my number
That's
3.
fair.
But how he looked this season, I know he was dealing with injuries, but there was just a lot of problems that he was having this season where he just couldn't quite figure out the defenses. And then what Jake Browning is doing with that team right now. And I get there's so many things. It moved him to 3.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. It did not move him that
You
far
didn't
down.
drop him off the face of the earth.
No. But I think
yeah.
there's a few things where you say, okay, this other guy who's showing up right now who has different abilities.
Yeah.
I have Lamar Jackson as my number 2.
Okay.
I have Lamar Jackson for what he's doing in Baltimore right now with not a ton of help.
Yeah.
And what he's able to do, carry this team on his back, and what we've seen him do in the past. And when they finally got him some weapons, being able to use those more and more. And as much as he's not a throwing quarterback, he can throw the football. We've seen him do it.
And he terrifies you on the ground.
And he
I
does.
mean, yeah.
And it makes it so you have to defend him in multiple ways. So I have him right now as my number 2. If you put him on any team, that team's automatically better.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so I have him there just above Joe Burrow because I think if you just see the way they were playing with their teams this season, Joe Burrow, I think he's still number 3 on my list.
It's not like he's not on the list.
But if you see everything around it, I just have to go, okay, well, he wasn't Superman.
Yeah.
And he was hurt, but he wasn't Superman at all. And Lamar Jackson has been Superman. Patrick Mahomes has been Superman.
Fair enough. So Joe Burrow's your number 3 then?
Number 3. Number 4, and this is where we start to get into it a little bit because I think those 3 kind of go on a separate level.
Yes.
And then we go to the next level. And this is where it gets harder a little bit because there's a group of guys that you can kind of put in this next category. Who's your number 4? I'm guessing I know who it is.
Number 4 for me is Lamar, actually.
Okay, so number 4, who's your number 3?
Number 3 was Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, number 4 for me is Aaron Rodgers. So
Okay.
we're on this level
Yeah.
with Aaron Rodgers. And I get he's getting older, so he's kind of in that. We didn't see we saw him play 3 plays this year?
And last time we saw him play healthy, he was the 3-time MVP.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
yeah.
so Aaron Rodgers is number 4 for me. He just doesn't have that, X-Man ability anymore.
I just
don't
need him
think.
for 1 year.
But if it's 1 year, I still have Aaron Rodgers on there. So we're both top 4 of the same 4 guys.
Right.
Okay, now number 5.
Dak Prescott.
I have Dak Prescott as my number 5 as well.
Wow, we are in agreement.
I do have, so this is why. And so I get this, but this is where the conversation starts, where I think Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, and there's some other guys here, but I think those are kind of in that range of depending on what you're looking for.
Right.
That's that guy.
Needs a scheme.
And so
kinda.
I have
Yeah.
there, I'll go through my next few because I think these are kind of all in that level of
that same range.
in that same range. And I'm dropping one of them a little bit because of his performance this season.
Okay.
But I have Josh Allen. I have Trevor Lawrence in that group that I think is a really good quarterback.
Really?
I have Tua in that group.
Okay.
And then it goes down to, I think Herbert's just out of that group for me now.
Okay. So mine goes Tua, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Matt Stafford. And that goes all the way through 9 for me.
Okay. So I go 6 is Josh Allen, 7 is Trevor Lawrence, 8 is Tua, 9 I put Brock Purdy. Because of what he is doing, I can't really drop him too much further because he's doing everything he's supposed to do. He's not turning the ball over. And we don't know if he could do more.
I know. It's tough because you can't judge him against anything.
But he's doing everything he's supposed to do. So I can't drop
Right.
him any lower because if you said, well, if you put him on a lot of these teams, like if you put him on the Chargers, I imagine the Chargers are better. And if you put him on the Jaguars, I don't know how much worse they are.
Yeah, no, and I hear what you're saying. Like I said, there's nothing to judge against it. My only argument for this is life is a whole lot easier when you can turn around and let CMC go for 79 in the opening play of
I agree,
scrimmage.
but I can't put him too far down my list because of what he's doing on the field.
Fair.
Because of his decision making, and that's where I'm dropping guys like Jalen Hurts down. Because Jalen Hurts' decision making hasn't been great this season.
Yeah, fair.
And so he's going to drop down because I think you put Jalen Hurts on the 49ers, and as great as they are, if he throws 3 picks in the game,
Doesn't take care of the football.
then,
Yeah.
you're not doing better.
But, dude, how many wide open crossing routes does Brock
I
Purdy
agree.
throw?
I agree. But if you're not seeing those and you're trying to do something more special, I'm not. Look, we know the positions. Jalen Hurts drops to 11 for me. I have Justin Herbert at 10.
Okay.
And then I drop down to 11 is Jalen Hurts. Where does Brock Purdy fall on your list?
Brock Purdy falls all the way to 14 for me.
14. So you still have a few guys. Who else is ahead of Brock Purdy on your list?
Ahead of Brock Purdy still is Jared Goff, Deshaun Watson, C.J. Stroud, and Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Anthony Richardson.
What you saw in 3 games is enough.
I'm not, but that's my problem is I'm not going to put him on there as enough just solely in the fact.
Okay, so which of those two is the better quarterback, Anthony Richardson or Brock Purdy? Take the weapons away. If you just had to start your team with a quarterback, you take
but I'm not. You're saying start. If I had to pick a guy to win me a game tomorrow, I'm picking Brock Purdy because I don't know if Anthony Richardson.
Well, that's because Anthony Richardson's still recovering.
No, but I'm saying healthy wise.
Yeah,
I'm still gonna because I just don't know. Like he looked good, but also Will Levis looked really good for the first 2 games.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But Anthony Richardson is so dynamic on the ground too. That's part of why he's hurt. But God, I have a hard time giving Brock Purdy a lot of credit for that. I really do, because you can't tell me there's another running back that matches CMC. You can't tell me there's another wide receiver that matches Deebo Samuel. You know what I mean? And Kittle, one of the top 2 tight ends, maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, life gets a lot easier. Not to mention you have one of the best play callers of our generation calling that offense.
No, it is. I'm with you. All right, let's go down to some other people. Deshaun Watson's my number 13. I have C.J. Stroud ahead of Deshaun Watson right now just because Deshaun Watson hasn't looked great
you got him
in the
at
time.
12?
I have C.J. Stroud at 12, Deshaun Watson at 13. Yeah. Kirk Cousins I put at 14. He's a guy that it's hard to drop him that far down your list.
He didn't even make mine.
But he's hard to drop too far down because we know what he can do. He does win a lot of games.
Yeah.
And then I go Matt Stafford there. I think Matt Stafford's playing well right now, but I
still believe.
But it's just I don't put him in any, again, no X-Man ability. He kind of is a good player who have put in the right system, but at this point in his career, he's not safe. Without other players really stepping up, he can't do a ton. He can do enough, but I take Brock Purdy over him every day of the week.
Whoa, I don't know about that one. For just one season?
For one season, yes. Because Brock Purdy's doing what I need him to do, and Matt Stafford will probably 8 games out of the season. Well, and he's just not consistent at all.
Matt Stafford's a gunslinger, yeah.
He is a gunslinger.
He's going to try and fit it in. Yeah.
Another guy on there, Russell Wilson. Where does he fall for you?
He's not even in the top 15 for me. I actually have Geno Smith in at the 15 slot.
Okay, yeah. Geno Smith is my number 17.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at that. So we go down. I can go down the rest, but I want to bring this to the other part of the conversation, which is because now it starts to get in the convoluted of what teams are on. It just becomes harder to rank everybody, right? Yeah. But I do want to get into this because I think it pertains somewhat to Texas football and Quinn Ewers and how many spots are going to be available where teams are going to be looking for a new quarterback next year, whether it be a rookie or somebody else or somebody, trying to get maybe Justin Fields ends up on a different team next year and someone's going to try him in a different system. But how many spots are open for a rookie quarterback? And kind of starting at the bottom of my list.
Okay.
I think the Raiders are.
Yes, I agree.
I think the Patriots are.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the Falcons would be.
Okay.
I'm not going to put the Giants on there just solely.
They just dumped a bunch of cash into Danny
Jones.
Yeah.
I'm not putting the Panthers on there because they got Bryce Young.
Fair.
Tennessee, Will Levis looks okay.
Yeah,
you're not going to draft another top quarterback after drafting Malik Willis and drafting Will Levis.
You can't do 3 in a row. Yeah.
I do think Chicago is open for it.
Okay.
Because I know Justin Fields may take one of those spots.
Yeah.
As moving on, but I don't think they pay him big money.
Okay.
I think you just have to kind of move on and say, all right, Justin Fields, we did it. We're having the number 1 pick of the Panthers. Let's just separate because it's clearly not working. It seems like a toxic relationship at this point that we keep trying to make it work, but then the second you get hurt, whoever comes in does better than you, and then you come back and you do good, but then you're not good again.
And the Bears are in a weird spot because they own that Carolina pick.
Yes.
So, and Carolina's won a single game
this
season. So it's going to be the 1 or the 2 if the Patriots somehow find a way to do worse than Carolina in these last 4 weeks.
Another team, Tampa Bay.
Interesting. You think they'd move on?
I think you're going to draft somebody. I mean, Kyle Trask can't get on the field. Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback, but he's not a future.
He's your bridge.
And so if you say, hey, man, if we have a top guy in a QB-heavy draft that we feel can go do it, then why wouldn't you take a pick?
Yeah, I hear you. Can I give you a surprise contender?
Who's that?
Minnesota.
I have Minnesota on my list as well because I think they move on from Kirk Cousins.
Right, coming off an Achilles, over the hump, and up for a contract.
And I think they're paying all their wide receivers right now. Justin Jefferson has to get his pay.
You think they're going to actually pay him?
I think they'll pay him and get a new quarterback, and then if they don't like it, they'll trade him.
So do you think they would possibly move within the division with the Bears and do a pick swap up at the top with Justin Jefferson to get out of paying that deal?
I mean, no, I don't think they do that.
Okay.
Because Minnesota, I could see them trying to get out of it. And I said this a lot. Minnesota doesn't like to keep star player, like star
That's
wide
why I
receivers.
was thinking about
I don't
it.
think they like to keep him.
Right.
I think they want to re-sign him for a deal now, especially if you have a rookie quarterback, to try and build over that.
Yeah.
Get Jordan Addison to move up, and then 2 years into that contract, okay, we'll see you later.
Somebody else going to pay the
Pay
back
off the
end
rest of
it.
that. Pay off the rest of that, the back end,
And it'll probably balloon as it goes.
exactly.
Yeah.
We'll now move you off, and we'll try and go in a new direction. But we're not going to win with you now this way. Now, if they
Right.
get a star quarterback with Justin Jefferson and they're winning games, then yeah, you keep him. But you have to be winning and going to win in the playoffs for them to keep him. And I think that moving off Kirk Cousins and getting another guy makes that more financially viable. Is to have a rookie contract quarterback for the first 2 or 3 years of that Justin Jefferson contract.
Yeah.
Because now Jefferson's getting paid, but you're not paying a quarterback. So that money is still going, like, you're still in the
Right.
right
And
range.
that's kind of where my thinking was. Plus, Kirk's coming off that Achilles. And I know we just did all that talking about Aaron Rodgers. Let's be honest here. There's a drop off from Aaron Rodgers to Kirk
Yeah.
Cousins.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. 100%. And I mean, just recovery wise and,
Yeah, it's gonna be
insanity wise and everything else. A couple other teams. Arizona could still be in that list if they decide to move on from
Interesting.
Kyler. That we know that they clearly were not thrilled that everything worked out the way it was. And then
Sure.
now they have the Texans pick that they thought was going to be a top pick, and it's not. And they have their pick, which will be closer to the top pick. So they may
Most
try and move on. And if they got a guy, if there's a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix Jr., where they feel they may be able to move on from that.
Maybe.
If they get a buyer the real question is, can they get a buyer for Kyler?
Right.
Does somebody want him in his contract?
Somebody's going to take that. What do you think about the Rams?
I have them on my list as well. I think
Okay.
you have to draft somebody because
I
Matt
think you
Stafford
do.
is just so beat up and older
Yeah.
that while you have Sean McVay, as long as he's still there and you have that quarterback whisper, try and bring in somebody else.
Yeah.
If you can, especially now, you're going to be in that range where you're kind of in that Quinn Ewers range,
Like later into the first?
where you're maybe Quinn's second round or you're later in the first, and
Okay.
you're in that range where probably all your top guys probably the top 3 at least have gone.
At least.
If not top 4, because we're saying this is how many teams we're in that need a new quarterback, it's probably 7 to 9 new quarterbacks next season. Because another team on there is the Saints. I know they just got Derek Carr and they're paying him, but they could take a quarterback that wouldn't be a starter this year, but would be training to be a starter in next year.
You're talking about a later quarterback.
Yeah, so a
Yeah.
second round quarterback or a third round quarterback
Okay.
to try and go, okay, we get it. We're not winning with Derek Carr. Let's try one more season with Derek and kind of groom you and let you sit behind a guy for a season. And then you come in as a new quarterback the following season.
How much did they pay Jameis? What's he sitting on?
I don't know, but it can't be enough. It can't be that
Yeah.
much. But those are the ones that I think. So it's really 7 to 9 positions that I think that are available for quarterbacks.
That's fair.
For rookies, which makes it that question for Quinn Ewers. What number of quarterback is he? Is he the 5th quarterback? Because right now we know top 4 have got to be, a couple younger guys, and Caleb Williams and Drake May are 1 and 2. And then you go into the Michael Penix Jr. debate. You go into the Jordan Travis debate. You go into the Bo Nix. And is he 5? Is he 7? Is he 10? And at what point are we, okay, well, there's not enough teams that need quarterbacks, and you're slipping down now to a backup quarterback on a team that has a starter. And that's not really where you want to be in the NFL because you may never even get your shot.
Right.
So you'd prefer to be on a team where they at least need somebody to come in. So I think that's the question for Quinn Ewers right now. And if we look at that draft, that he may not be the top, some people say, depending on scouting reports, some people have him as the 4th or 3rd or 4th best quarterback
Well, I mean,
because he's a little bit younger too.
even someone like Sam Hartman. You think Sam Hartman fits in there right in front of Quinn?
And it's because age. Because Quinn jumps
Right.
age-wise. He's better than Hartman. He's better than Nix. He's better than Penix.
Doesn't have
He's
the
young.
experience.
And when I say better, younger than
Yeah.
all of them, where they feel there's more progression still to be made in Quinn Ewers. We
Right.
see the jump from last year to this year. They say, well, he's only got 2 years. When we draft him, the ceiling is huge.
Yeah.
So that's more where I sit with Quinn Ewers right now to see if he's at a level where he's going to be able to take that next. If his scouting report is he a top 5 quarterback in the draft? I think it's more and more likely he may go because of how many positions need a starting quarterback. That somebody may say, okay, well, if he's a top 5 quarterback, he's definitely going at worst early second round, and he's going to be able to go and he's going to play. But if he's 6th or 7th, and now you start to fall in that category of you may drop drastically to 4th or 5th round.
Yeah, that's fair. Let me just cap all that off by saying if they don't win a national title, I don't think he goes to the draft.
I don't really think he does either. But it's just an interesting thing to look at as we get into, starting to evaluate. And I was looking at the quarterbacks with everything, and then it was like, how many of these are garbage?
Yeah.
That we need to move on from.
Right.
Let's get to Patrick's Big Fat Poll today before we take a break.
Patrick's Big Fat Poll of the day on the Horn.
Poll of the day today. This is with our friend Draymond Green being ejected once again, waiting disciplinary action from the league. And we're going to talk some NBA in the next segment, so we will get to it, and we will talk about it in the next segment. If you could permanently suspend one player from sports, so baseball, basketball, football, volleyball,
track and field,
hockey, track and field,
water polo,
whatever you want to whatever you want to suspend. You want to suspend one person from sports, and you say they're never allowed to play this sport ever again. Aaron Judge, I don't like your face. You're never playing again. Hey, Shohei Ohtani, you went to the Dodgers, never playing again. Or you could say, you know what? I don't like Ndamukong Suh.
That's exactly where I was going with it. That's exactly where I was just waiting. I was loading it up, getting ready to fire. That's exactly.
But it could be where you could say, all right, it's a dirtier football player. I don't like this dirty football player.
If you step on someone's face with your cleats, you should not be allowed to play football.
Spin it for life. Or you say, whatever your reason, I want you to say, if you could permanently suspend one player from sports, whether it's just pure spite or you have a reason, this person should never be allowed to play because they're too dirty, they're too filthy, they cheat too much, they're criers, I don't like them in there, I don't like their whiners.
Patrick Mahomes, get him out of there.
Yeah, whining, complaining. Tell us on that. 512-447-3776. I prefer if you told us why. You're throwing a curveball in there.
Just start throwing names. Yeah.
Tell us why. 512-447-3776. We got to take a break. When we come back, hopefully we'll get the Kobe Black news.
Yeah.
We'll be watching for that.
And
then we'll also get into some NBA talk when we come back here on the Horn 1019 AM 1260, the Horn app, and hornfm.com. Back on the Sports Complex here on the Horn. Rolling along on a Wednesday afternoon, playing music from Jelly's 11th annual Christmas Jam, bidding the Austin Firefighters Outreach and Relief Fund. The event is happening this Thursday at 310 at ACL Live. It's a great charity event, and it's so many great, awesome musicians playing part of this big jam. So there's going to be some bands starting at 7 o'clock, and then at 10 o'clock is the jam. It is going to be a party, and this is one of the singers, Candy Sanders, one of the best in town. She's amazing, amazing voice. Great person. She is going to be part of that jam. Jelly Ellington joining us in the 5 o'clock hour to talk a little bit more about that and the charity aspect and the raffles and all that good stuff. He'll be here in the 5 o'clock hour to talk about that. But I know all you Texas fans are eagerly awaiting the news about the 4-star, 5-star DB, Kobe Black. He has committed to the University of Texas. Very good, Kobe. Very good.
That's what I'm talking about.
Big, powerful, 6'1", 190. Can play that boundary corner position where Ryan Watts is going to be moving on. Maybe Muhammad's been over in that position, but you'll see Kobe Black be able to play that position for you some as well. He's going to come in and make a difference right away. But a big signing for Texas to get him. He picked them over some other major schools, so a big win for Texas today in recruiting. We'll talk more college football in the 6 o'clock as well. So we'll get further into what it can mean for Kobe Black, but it's a huge signing for Texas to get Kobe Black. We've been waiting for that one. I believe the story was he was going to announce this several weeks back, but then they were doing some UIL drama tournament.
Yeah.
Instead, so he couldn't get the stage to
couldn't
do
get
it.
The room.
So they had to push it back like 2 weeks, and every Texas fan was like, no. But Jerry Hamilton has said this morning that he was leaning heavily to Texas.
Jerry Hamilton basically threatened to quit his job as the senior recruiting analyst at On3 Sports if Kobe Black didn't pick Texas.
So we did get to see that, but a great
and congratulations, Jerry! You get to stay. Yeah, you get to stay the senior recruiting analyst.
But a great signing there for Texas to get Kobe Black. Definitely looking forward to seeing him here in the 40 acres. It's going to be a great signing to get him.
Number 4 corner in the country.
Number 4 corner in the country. Number 44 prospect overall.
Woo!
Keeping that class growing and growing for Texas. Just a really good player for Texas to get. Let's talk some NBA, though, before we take this break, and then we'll go back and we'll get to your text messages. We were asking you if you could permanently suspend one player from sports, who would it be? I'd love to hear your answers on this, and why, and why. Oh, and why is always on there.
We got some good ones already.
Good, because we were talking about, because the story out of the NBA wasn't about great play last night. It wasn't about the matchups on TNT so much. I mean, I guess one of them was the matchup on TNT, but it was that Draymond Green once again was ejected for a game for what appeared to be a flagrant attack on another player with very little provocation and just him getting upset in a game and responding with violence.
I just don't get it.
And so now he awaits. He has come out afterwards. If you didn't see it, the best way I can explain it was he was kind of getting bumped out by Jokic. He was trying to post him up a little bit. Nurkic for the Suns was not allowing him to and bumping him back out. They were bumping back and forth. Draymond Green does what normally would be a spin move to cut to the basket, except he does not spin around Nurkic. He just spins in front of him.
He spins back to him.
While swinging his right arm as wildly and full extension. I don't know if it was a fist or a slap, and comes around and punches him in the side of that.
I mean, and it's square in the jaw. I mean, it's the most unnatural move I've ever seen.
Yeah, there's no way you can tell me you're a professional athlete, you're defensive player of the year, your body control has been worked on all this, and then all of a sudden you just spaz out like a 5-year-old and accidentally hit somebody.
To me, the most damning part is not spinning towards the basket.
Yeah.
Spinning back into Nurkic.
Yeah, he basically made a move where he decided, I'm going to try and show him. And I think what it appears as if, because I've seen people do these moves before, and I play basketball, and people try and do these things, and you try and do something that looks completely natural, and you try and go, oh, I slipped, and then I hit him. Or I slipped and I tackled him, or something like that, where you're trying to make it look as if this is completely involuntary.
Or the high elbows clearing out.
The high elbows, when you're coming down and someone sets a high screen,
yeah, exactly.
And you're trying not to show that you're about to lower your shoulder, but you're about to lower your shoulder
to go through
and
the
go,
screen.
you set your screen on me again. and it could even be a foul on me. As long as it's not a flagrant, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And those kind of plays, it looked like that kind of play.
Now imagine one of those where you punch the guy at the end of it, though.
But that's my point, is it looked like he was like, okay, I'm going to do a spin, and I'm going to catch him with my arm. And then he punched him in the face.
I mean, it's so square. It's so hard to defend Draymond. This is over and over and over again.
And this is, this is just after he gets back from another suspension for choking a guy out, which and he afterwards said, I'd do it again.
After this one, he said, I'm not in the habit of apologizing for things I didn't mean to do.
Yeah. Which,
come on.
He's like, I mean to hit him in the temple, and I hit him in the jaw. Terrible. I didn't mean to do that. But Draymond, once again, so he gets ejected. And this is why we asked the question of if you could permanently suspend one player, because I would have permanently suspended Draymond years ago just because he's annoying to me. And the suspension would include podcasts and any TV appearances.
No media availability.
Cannot stand that guy.
So you don't flail your legs out when you jump up into another person's groin? That's not how you naturally jump?
I have not jumped in 10 years, man.
But if you were going to, is that how you would imagine your takeoff?
If I flailed my legs out as I jumped, they're not coming back down underneath me before I land.
Something broke.
Something broke. The ladder is pulled out from underneath me, man. So, yeah, that ended poorly for me if I did that. You're like, he kicked me, and it's like, he's also dead.
Yeah. Oh, God. His hip needs to be put back in. Yeah.
But this is yet again. And then also on this night, Jokic is playing a game in Chicago against the Bulls. He feels he gets fouled. He puts the ball up. He goes around, turns away from the ref, and says, call the foul, MFer.
Okay.
And he says that. The ref immediately turns around, throws him out of the game. No, not a one tell. So normally in that moment, even with a regular player, not the MVP, not
the guy everybody came to see,
defending defending NBA champion, not that. He tees him up and ejection. So he doesn't give him the normal 1-2. Hey, man, you can't say that. And Jokic would have turned around and said,
"You're right.
You got me. You got me.
My bad.
Heat of the moment, got me."
Yeah,
and that would have been fine. But this is, and I can tell you this. I can tell you, Adam Silver was on the phone with those refs that night and goes, "Do you understand how hard I have to fight to get players to show up to games at all
and play
and you threw out Jokic,
the best player?
Why?" I remember going to a game, and this is why this annoys me, is because I remember going to a game as a kid, and it was Spurs Timberwolves.
Okay.
And early, like in the first quarter, there's a scuffle, and Kevin Garnett gets into Tim Duncan's face.
Yep.
They're just in the face, not fighting, both arms down on both players.
Just talking.
Ejects both players.
Oh.
Like in the first quarter of a game. And as a kid, I was so upset.
I bet.
Because you just went, I was like, it was a young man, and you just went, that's who we wanted to see. Like, this is the matchup. These are two Hall of Fame players, and this is, I mean, they're young at this point.
Sure.
But you're like, this is two of the best players in the NBA, and all we wanted to see was this matchup.
That's how I justified buying this ticket.
And all we wanted to see, and you threw them out, and now we get to watch the Spurs without Tim versus the Timberwolves without Kevin Garnett.
Woo!
That's the game we're all watching now.
Yeah.
Because there was trash talking that happens every single play. So those types of things are infuriating in NBA. They need to stop. I get that referees need to have some level of being able, but one tee through Jokic would have worked. And if Draymond Green, just when he starts to spin move, blow the whistle, double tech out. Draymond is the one guy. And what's crazy about it is
he's lost the benefit of the doubt.
Well, what's crazy about it too is you've seen Draymond Green clearly foul a guy.
Oh yeah. And
then go to the ref, run halfway up the court, run back, drop 35 MFers on a ref, and they go, "Draymond, you're crazy, man. You're always yelling so much."
Oh man, Draymond, you're so funny, man. Your podcast is awesome.
Oh, yeah. So those were the two ejections, two different sides of the coin. Refs at least got Draymond Green ejection correct. They did throw him out. But Jokic ejected too. That is the NBA news that really came out. We also did see the Mavs did beat the Lakers 127-125 with some Mavs out. Grant Williams did return though, hit 5 for 7 from 3, played some good defense against the Lakers. Doncic again goes for 33, but we now know he was 12 for 28 in shooting. It does look like his usage rate is getting to him right now a little bit.
Yeah, he said everything hurts.
And he says everything hurts,
yeah.
And it's just so I think he's going to have to. They're going to have to figure something out. I know he's trying to overcompensate with Kyrie Irving out with the foot.
It'll even out.
When Kyrie Irving comes back, you just don't want to make it get so bad that he misses a month.
Right.
To trying to recover. But Tim Hardaway Jr., by the way, best game of the season, 32 points. And really, the Stars or Lakers showed up in the game. They just didn't play enough defense at the end of the day. LeBron James had 33, AD had 37, Austin Reeves had 22.
Still can't be losing to the Mavs with most of their roster.
No,
not
because you
playing.
got to play defense. You can't let the Mavs
Can't
put up
do that.
127 on you with Doncic shooting 12 for 28. Like,
Yeah.
you need to stop them a little bit more.
Yeah, the Lakers won one quarter. It was the third quarter.
The Warriors did end up losing to the Suns after that matchup, which you always want to see. Devin Booker, 32 points in that game for them. Tonight, Lakers take on the Spurs. The line has grown now because originally everybody thought back-to-back for the Lakers, they're going to rest their older players. That has not been said. AD and LeBron are questionable. So the line was at 1.5. It is now up to 3.5 last I looked.
I've got it at 4.5 right now.
4.5,
on
so it's
ESPN
looking more and more like those guys may show up and play. So that would be a reason why the Spurs are not as favored. They play the Lakers on today and on Friday, both in San Antonio. So Lakers are going to be hanging out. Maybe we'll get LeBron on the show tomorrow.
Yeah.
You want to come down on the
Well, I'll just make a call.
Yeah, let's make a call.
Well,
Yeah.
you should have some hope. The Spurs have one of their 3 wins at home.
Oh, we get Austin Reeves on. I mean, what else is he going to be doing?
Yeah, we could get Austin.
Does he got to
Reeves
fly
on.
home and plow the fields?
Well, we'll just convince him that it's another show.
Get him on. But yeah, what is that? Also, the Rockets 7.5-point favorites against the Grizzlies tonight. That should be a good win. The Rockets at home, we've talked about their defensive dominance. The Grizzlies do not have much of an offense. They basically have Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane right now before John Morant
And
comes
Desmond
back.
Bane's not a number 1 option.
No.
Yeah.
No. And that's what I'm saying. They just don't have a lot of good options down there. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into some of your text messages. The poll of the day, guys. Poll of the day. If you could permanently suspend one player from sports, any sport, but one player, you suspend him for life. He's done. Permanently suspended. Who would it be and why? Tell us on the text line 512-447-3776. When we come back, your text messages here on the Sports Complex on the Horn 1019, AM 1260, the Horn app, and hornfm.com. Back in the Sports Complex here on the Horn on a Wednesday afternoon, playing music from Jelly's 11th annual Christmas Jam all week long. This is Hayden Vatera, going to be part of that big jam happening Thursday at 3:10 at ACL Live. We're going to talk more about that with Jelly Ellington when we get back here in the 6 o'clock hour, but I want to get to some of your text messages before we don't. We're asking you if you could permanently suspend one player from sports, whoever it is, and I know you should. The answer should always be Draymond Green. Should always be Draymond Green, but I know you're going to have some different answers on there. Texter says, times have changed, travel is faster, it's crappy football because bad teams go and Americans play basketball in Europe. I don't think that it's always crappy football now that's over there. I think if you had teams that were over there and no one wanted to play on them, and Americans do play basketball. People who can't make the NBA.
Yeah, football's a little different in my mind. I'm not going to go into it because we'll go back and forth on this. We're just not going to see eye to eye.
We're not going to see eye to eye. I'm telling you, none of these guys want to play.
And I'm telling you, these billionaires want that international money. And
they do.
They're going to go
signing,
get it. They're going to go get it.
But I told you a more logical solution than building a team that won't sustain because they're going to be bad
and be bad for it. The key word is logical. The key word you're looking for is profitable.
Profitable. No, logical, profitable. I don't think it's a sustainable thing if you try and do it every single week. Plus, you can't watch the other games when they're on the road. They're going to play 8 a.m. your time, 4 a.m., something like that. It's just not a great system. But and the quarterback scrambles for 10 yards, first down. Buenos Aires Chupacabras. What a run. And that's why he commands almost 6 billion pesos a year. As a texture doing the foreign pass.
He's giving us the play-by-play.
Someone asking Dak not top 3 on our list. I did not have Dak top 3.
I did not either.
I can't put him up in that level yet because I think if you put him on a bad team, they're still a bad team.
I think, Dak has shown you that it took whatever scheme they're running right now for him to be one of these elite quarterbacks.
Let's see. So Brock Purdy is your Florida State of NFL quarterbacks.
No, because
he did make our top 4.
Brock Purdy didn't fall to 5 for me. Brock Purdy was in 15.
He was.
Yeah.
This texter who wants to get rid of Grayson Allen. Whiny little bee, still trying to trip people all the time.
That's a good one.
But I'll tell you this. He has some karma coming to him because that man looks 50.
Dude, he's got like the reverse Benjamin Button.
He's 28 years old. He looks worse than me, and that's a problem.
God, Patrick showed me a picture during the break. I had no idea it had gotten so bad.
He's like, by the time he's retired, they'll be like, so wait, like you're a retired coach, right? You had to retire the whole thing. Yeah, he does not look good. I suspend Dwight Powell. Guy's only in the league because he volunteers for all-style Mavs community outreach. Tired of watching that dude look terrified on the court, then fall down and give up dunks. Is this Mike Harge?
Come on. That might be Mike Harge. Yeah, how do we not have Harge's number saved in here?
I love that one, though. Yeah, Dwight Powell, if you've ever seen the video of him faking hitting his head on the door, and everyone really is like, oh, but we believe that it's Dwight Powell. I believe he jumped into a doorway.
Poor guy.
For the poll of the day, I would say Josh McDaniels should never be allowed to be a head coach ever again. How many chances does a guy get to prove that they cannot carry an NFL team? Right guy from New Mexico, I'm with you. I think a lot of people in Las Vegas wish he was banned before they hired him.
There's a whole conspiracy theory about that. Have you heard about Belichick's secret playbook that he doesn't share with his assistants?
Yeah, you mean the playbook?
No. No, there's a whole reason. There's a theory on why all of his coaching tree is terrible. After
he doesn't teach them anything.
No, he doesn't. He holds all of his closest schemes tight to the vest.
Yes,
doesn't
he does.
tell them.
No, it's why he's not a likable person. And now he's trying to be likable. He went on game day because he knows he has to find another job next year.
Oh, and that started back when he did the top 100 with Rich Eisen.
Yeah.
And who was the other guy in the room? I want to say it was Collinsworth.
But I mean, now you can tell he's really doing it because he knows he has to go out looking for a job.
Right.
And so he's really on it now. Another one.
He's getting caught on Ring doorbell cameras. It's not good for Bill.
Kyler Murray and LeBron James, both because they complain too much, apparently.
Patrick, are you texting into the show?
Look, I do not think that LeBron James should be banned. I do not have the problem with LeBron James. I know people get mad at him because he's really good and whines a lot. But every single player whines a lot in the NBA.
That's this day's NBA.
Play rec league, and they whine more than LeBron James does. Just go to the Y and play a game and just kind of bump somebody going up for the shot, and they'll be like, "Oh, come on, man! That's like I should get 4 free. Why are we playing?"
Yeah, you put a hand check on somebody. Yeah. It's immediate. Yeah.
Get some love for Kobe Black, Lorenzo. Looking love for Kobe Black. Very happy that Kobe Black is coming to the 40 acres. We'll talk more about him in the 5 o'clock hour.
He's got a sweet Sports Illustrated picture.
Come out, Tug. I like that one too. Zaza, he single-handedly ruined the Spurs franchise with that dirty little play. Thank you, Big JB. I remember what he's
Oh,
talking
that's
about
a good one.
when he stepped underneath
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard, and it was the beginning of the end for Kawhi Leonard in San Antonio.
Pachulia.
Zaza
Oh,
Pachulia.
man.
Yeah. Was Zaza also the one? Who was the one that was he the one who got votes for All-Star and they had to like change the All-Star voting because of him? It was someone from the country of Georgia. And the country voted for him nonstop. And I can't remember if it was Zaza or somebody else. But he kept getting in All-Star games, and they're like, he's not an All-Star.
I don't
He just had the
remember.
country voting for him.
I don't remember.
Sergeant Cake says LeBron James for his flopping. I know it's a rule now. But still. Again, LeBron, everyone flops. It's how basketball, like you just naturally, you kind of fall back on plays. You have to show it. I remember a point playing basketball where I went to the rim, and every time I go, I make a noise. Because first of all, you're getting hit. You are getting hit. You're doing physical activity. I make a noise standing up now, so it's not surprising I did it when I was trying to do something athletic. And I did it, and every time, and a ref came over to me, and he was like, you don't have to do that. I'll call the foul. And he thought I was like trying to show him, like, I have to do this every time. And so the next time I make a point not to do it. I drive to the basket, get bumped, throw the ball up, hit the ground, and I look over and there's no foul call. I'm like, well, I'm making the noise.
I don't think they're worried about like grunts. I think they're worried about the
No,
like,
I'm just
go
telling
up and you go the hey.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No, because I was flopping too. But but I'm just saying I got lectured for it, and then they didn't call it. I'm like, well, I'm gonna do it the other way then.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna get the foul call, I'm getting hit. You get hit most plays.
At least I had your attention when I made the noise.
That's great. We'll get Chief Engineer if he sees in there. Where's Bill Laimbeer when you need him? He handles Draymond Green. Yeah, putting those two guys in a ring would go for it. And then same for Grayson. Rodman would jack him up. I agree. Vlade Divac's cigarette. Yeah, the Vlade Divac with the cigarette is always really good stuff. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Jelly Ellington's going to join the show. We're going to talk about the 11th annual Jelly's Christmas Jam. We may talk some basketball too. Who knows? Jelly Ellington's a basketball player.
Chief Engineer wants to suspend all of soccer for faking injuries.
That is true. If you want to get rid of flopping, we got to start with the start of it, which is soccer, where the soccer is only annoying because they get on the ground and they look, they do the look
And then they
over,
wait,
and they see,
yeah.
and then they're like, it's yellow.
And then as soon as the cart gets out there, they stand up and we're warming up again. We're
Yeah,
ready to go.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. They spray him with that fake stuff,
yeah.
with just that spray him with condensed air, and they're like, your leg's better.
It's just sunscreen. It's just
We need to get that stuff in the NBA. I'll tell you that. We'll get those guys up real quick. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll get with him some jelly. We're also going to talk some more Cubby Black and some college football when we come back here on the Sports Complex in the Horn 1019, AM 1260, the Horn app, and hornfm.com.
Yeah, wash my face in the water. Last night just about cost me every dollar. Case of the Mondays, yeah, they got me good. Button on my shirt, still feeling like dirt. Take a quick hit just to get through work. Telling myself everything's gonna be alright. Just trying to get by, always on the fly, my friend. Never satisfied till I can see the end. Just waiting for the weekend. Feeling like
Back on the Sports Complex, hour 2 here on the Horn. Coming up in this hour, we'll talk more about the Kobe Black commitment to Texas today. Number 4 DB in the country coming to Texas. We'll talk some more college football, get back into our poll of the day, and a whole lot more. But joining me right now, as you can hear him on the hour 2 intro music for today, that is Jelly Ellington. He is part of Jelly's 11th annual Christmas. He's a big part of Jelly's 11th annual Christmas Jam. It's happening this Thursday at 3:10 at ACL Live. It's all benefiting the Austin Firefighters Relief and Outreach Fund, and Jelly is joining us in studio right now. Come talk about it a little bit. It's a cool thing that happens. This is the 11th year of it. Jelly, how you doing, brother? Oh, it helps if I turn your mic on. Let's try it again.
I'm doing great, Pat. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's very cool to you to come in. This is all happening tomorrow night, so it's going to be a fun show tomorrow night. But let's, kind of let the people in on what's happening, because it's the 11th annual, but I know a lot of people haven't heard about it. It's a great charity event that you throw every year. Kind of tell people how this started and what they're going to see tomorrow night.
Yeah, totally. So, the Christmas Jam, in its essence, it benefits a Central Texas nonprofit. So we've done the Central Texas Food Bank, Sims Foundation, and we're really excited this year to have the Austin Firefighters Relief and Outreach Fund. We also benefited them last year, and they provide relief to Central Texas first responders and their families, financial assistance, and so forth. So really, really excited. It's my favorite event of the whole year. We play throughout the whole year, and this is the show that I look forward to the most. So really, really fun evening. We have the Past Lives, which is a great young upcoming band here in Austin that are going to open up the night. Then we're going to kick out on the dance floor to Tomar and the FCs right after that, the great soul band I'm really excited to have on the jam. And then then we'll just kind of go into the jam portion of the evening, which we just get a really eclectic mix of Austin musicians, and we kind of pick songs and just kind of take it from there and just have a really, really fun time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's really fun about it is, this is something where you get to the end of the year and everybody plays all year, and you get to see all these great bands in Austin. We do 512 Friday here on the show, and you can hear all the great music. But when these guys come together and they'll play some songs, they may play some originals, but they'll play a lot of stuff where you're going to see some of the best bands in Austin and take a couple pieces and put together those kind of super groups come up and do a jam for an hour, 2 hours at the end of the night. It's a really cool thing that you just don't get to see very often of where, Austin music scene is such a, so diverse and so great. But there's just a giant list of artists that are going to be on this. And how do you kind of go through and put together and get all these people and get them all into one room on one day? And I know you've been rehearsing the last couple of nights. I know you got a rehearsal to go to tonight. How do you get everybody and put it all together?
It takes a lot of thought that I put into it kind of throughout the year, honestly. And what I like to do with the Christmas Jam is, from relationships that I've built with some artists and bands throughout the year from shows and special events like that, I'll usually invite to the jam for that year. And the coolest part about it was, for instance, last night at rehearsal, we had a group of 4 people who had never really played together before, but they sounded like a band. That's what I love about Austin musicians. They all speak that language, and that's just the really special part about it. And I think that, there's connections that are made from the jam and with different musicians to kind of start projects of their own even after. So really, really cool things like that happen.
Yeah, I mean, let's go into this is the 11th annual. You've been doing this, which, you're a transplant. You come from North Carolina, so you're a basketball guy, clearly, because everybody from North Carolina is a basketball guy.
Go Heels.
You come here, and you kind of start this up. How did this start? And it's morphed into where you're at 3:10 at ACL Live. How did this start and get to this point?
Yeah, we had humble beginnings. Greg Ware over at the 121 bar over in at their original location, 5th and Brazos downtown, let my band do it for the first year. We just kind of had to throw something together, and then we continued it on. It just started to build from there when the 121 moved to a new location. And then we kind of just outgrew that, and we reached out to 310, and they've hosted us the past 3 years. And every year it seems to get more special, and just the kind of the buzz grows around the city. And, what it really comes down to is just raising money for these nonprofits. And every year it's kind of grown exponentially from there. So we've decided just to really keep it going gung-ho every year.
Yeah, I know you choose this, the Austin Firefighters Relief and Outreach Fund, because it is something close to you, because you dealt with a fire. Your house burned down, a few years ago or a year ago or whatever. I mean, but enough that it was a problem. You were out of town and the house burned down, and the firefighters were able to get there, do their job enough that was able to save some of your stuff. Your guitars were able to be saved, and you just got to meet some of them and kind of learn the story. Is that the reason, or kind of where it started, the relationship with these guys?
Yeah, so I was speaking with Tom Vokey. He's a representative over at the Austin Firefighters Relief and Outreach Fund, and he was explaining to me just stories of even firefighters from 9/11 that have just now, started to, get cancer, God forbid, and stuff like that, just from, being exposed to what they were even in 9/11 in 2001. So the fact that we can raise money for, these people that really just seriously put their lives at risk every day, just to save, whether it's humans, material objects, I'm just forever indebted to them. So, I just want to raise as much money as I can for them, because, the house did go down, but they actually got there within 4 or 5 minutes and were able to save the studio portion of our house. And all of my guitars were actually saved, which was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely a great story. And you don't realize, and I got to talk to some of these guys. You did this for them last year as well. And I got to talk to some of them, and you don't realize, you realize that they're putting their lives on the line in the moment, but you don't realize the long-term effects that it has on some of these people and their families. And, so an organization like the Austin Firefighters Relief and Outreach Fund, it's really necessary, because, as Austin continues to grow, you're just, it means more and more people, and maybe not as many people willing to take the risk and the chance. And, the ones that are willing to do it, you want to be able to take care of them and show them that they're not forgotten, even when they're done, or, when something goes wrong. So it's a really cool thing to be able to do that. You're also going to be doing some raffles, so if people want to come out and support more, so you can get your tickets at acllive.com. If you go there, it'll lead you to the 310 page, and you can go there. Do you have a website they can link to, Jelly Ellington?
Yeah, jellyellington.com. You just go to the tour section, and there'll just be the date right there with the tickets. You can get to there pretty quick. So
you can get your tickets at all those places and join us tomorrow. The doors are at 6. First band will be at 7. I'm hosting the event, or emceeing, or whatever it is. Jelly's, I guess, technically the host, since he has to play and put it all together and do everything that his name's on it. I'll be emceeing, which I've been, lucky enough to be able to do. But we hope everybody comes out and joins us. But there's also a raffle that's happening, and some great people have put in some prizes to allow, so if you want to come out and hang out for a little bit and put your name in the raffle, you can win some prizes too. Tell them about the raffle, Jelly.
Yeah, so we've had some great sponsors this year. Kendra Scott's offering some jewelry items for all the ladies out there. And then we also have Sweetwater, who's donated a ukulele. And then we've also have Tito's. They're offering a gift basket of special surprises. And then also one of the performers, AJ Vallejo, has a really, really delicious hot sauce bundle that he's going to be raffling off as well.
So lots of cool stuff. You can get a raffle ticket and win some stuff. You're going to see some great live music. I want to go through and read off some of these names performing. So so if you might catch it, like Eric Tesmer is on this, who's been one of Austin's premier guitar players. Cece, who just was at ACL Festival, she was at the festival playing there. Josh Ross and Mark Sean from Blackheart Saints, who just put out another track on Cleopatra Records. They're touring around, playing across the country. AJ Vallejo and Omar Vallejo from the Vallejos and from Brody Lane and everything that they're doing. Kelly Green and Jace Cato from Madam Radar, who are doing a bunch of really good stuff. Jake Andrews, another great guitar player. We played Candy for you earlier on the show. Robert Wagner, if you've ever seen Suede play live, Robert Wagner is there. Naga Volley, who's an amazing talent, is going to be playing there. Curtis Lee, I played his show. I'm going to play him a little bit later, either today or tomorrow. His new single coming out. He's amazing. You get some horn players like Kevin Flatt is going to be out there. Eric Garcia is one of the best guitarists. Hayden Vatera, we just played for you. And that's just the kind of people in the front. And then there's this plethora of really good players that you may not realize playing 20 different bands in town and have played on all these records that you've heard that are all going to be there. It's just a crazy lineup. And that doesn't include the Past Lives, which are an up and coming band here in town that you want to go see, that are going to be playing at 7:00. And they're coming up right now. You're going to get to see them at the beginning. And then Tomar and the FCs, which is just one of the best fun party bands. If you want to come out, I mean, they're worth the price of admission alone Past Lives are coming up. Jelly Ellington's worth the price of admission. And then you get a jam at the end of the night. We're all going to have a few drinks and have a really good time. It's just an epic thing. Like, now that you've done this how many years, is it kind of getting to be old hat for you? You're getting more used to doing it every single year?
Definitely. You learn something new every year. Just getting the time frames down. I try to fit in as much music possibly we can into the 5 hours. So it's a good 5 hours of music. And I'm just so grateful for all the musicians who make this happen, because without them, it wouldn't be, nearly what it is. And it's just a chance for me to get my friends together, and we get to jam out. So come jam with us.
No, and I'm proud of you, because I've been with you since the beginning of doing these, and your career's grown, and this jam continues to get bigger and bigger every year, and raising more money for these charities, and supporting local music, supporting local charities. It's something I've tried to work on. It's so awesome to see you do it. I do want to ask you though, because we are doing the poll of the Quay. It was a sports complex, so we're going to do it. And we're asking you, because I know you're a big basketball fan. We were at the Texas game on Saturday. Me and you went to see Texas versus Houston Christian. But I want to ask you the poll question of the day. If you could permanently suspend one player from any sport, one player, suspend them permanently. They're gone. Because Draymond Green, we know, is on that list. He's on the short list for people now after he got suspended or ejected again last night. Who is on you? Who's your player? I'm assuming it's someone from Duke, because you're a North Carolina guy, but
Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen. We've had him. Grayson Allen's an easy one. Like, you kind of want to retroactively suspend Christian, suspend just every Duke player. You just want to suspend them all.
Pretty much. They should just be on their own little team in the NBA.
I know. Reality is it's Coach K.
Mike Krzyzewski.
By the way, if you don't know of a real basketball fan there, he will refuse to call Coach K Coach K. It's Mike Krzyzewski for him only. I appreciate you coming in, Jelly, and talking about this a little bit more. If anybody wants more information, where can they find about Jelly Ellington? Where can they find about the jam? You
can just visit jellyellington.com, and then on Instagram and Facebook, it's at Jelly Ellington, JELLYELLINGTON.
Yeah, and I hope to see some of you guys out there. If you want to, I'll be out there hosting, so you can just come up and say, hey, if you're listening to the show, we would love to see you out there. Get some tickets, support a really good cause. It's going to be a fun show tomorrow night. I cannot wait for it. It's not crazy late. It's a Thursday night. The whole show is going to wrap around midnight. So it's not something where you're going to have to call out of work the next day. I'm planning to be here. We'll see if I still have a voice. I do tend to get a little bit loud by the end of the night, and so we'll see how much of a voice I have, or if I'm just going to leave Jacob here to do the whole show by himself. We'll see what we come to, but I'm really looking forward to it. I appreciate you joining us, Jelly, and why don't we leave the people with a little bit more Jelly Ellington to get you some more vibes. The jam is going to be happening. If you didn't know, Jelly Ellington is one of the best guitar players in town, classically trained and can do everything. So, but if you, check out his music. Here's some Jelly Ellington to take us out. I appreciate you coming out, brother. We'll see you tomorrow night, 3:10 at ACL Live for Jelly's 11th annual Christmas Jam. We'll play this one. How about this? There we go. Back on the Sports Complex here on the Horn. Thanks to Jelly Ellington for joining us. We are playing some music from Jelly's 11th annual Christmas Jam all week long, getting you ready for it, benefiting the Austin Firefighters Relief and Outreach Fund. We just talked about it a little bit, but this is Blackheart Saints. Josh Ross, Mark Shaw going to come up and sing some songs. These guys are doing awesome right now, touring around, playing, opening for some big bands across the country. This is their new single, 2 Drinks In. But it's a Blackheart Saints right now on our music for you. But let's move on and talk some college football, Jacob, and get into, there's a couple big stories in college football that have come out today.
Did something happen?
First, the commitment of Kobe Black that I appreciate. He did it swiftly. I didn't get to see the announcement yet. We'll see if we go back and there's video of it. But I did appreciate he said at like 4:30 I'm going to do this. And by like 4:35 it was already done.
Yeah, I'm looking at video of it right now. It looks like they set a bunch of gift bags out with the team logos on the front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, but I appreciate the quickness of it when we've seen these before and they say 4:30 and then it's 5:25 and you're waiting and then they give and then it's then it takes. Does he do a switch?
Sorry, he digs into the A&M bag and then puts it back and goes to the Texas bag.
Oh, you always got to do. They love this switcher. They love it. Just tormenting people. What was that? Was it? Oh, I can't remember.
Sorry, Aggies.
I can't remember. There was somebody who did it. That did the Texas, not Texas, went somewhere else, and then went back to Texas.
I don't remember. I know what you're talking about.
And it was a double reverse juke.
Was it that wasn't Anthony Hill, was it?
No, because I feel it was somebody going into this class. I feel like it was not a year ago, but it could have been a year ago.
Yeah.
But yes, a great signing there from Kobe Black. If you don't know who Kobe Black is, he's a 6'1", like 190 cornerback.
190.
Got powerful arms. He can get out there. He can play that boundary corner really well. He's also got a huge wingspan, 6'7" wingspan. Great ball skills, so he can get in there. He's going to get some interceptions. There's some things he's got to work on, but he's also pretty young for the class that he's in. So, you're going to be able to get him in and make some big plays early on, and then it's just more teaching him the finer art of it. But you're talking about someone who can make an impact his freshman season in a defensive backfield that needs help, in the secondary that needs help, and especially losing some more guys like Ryan Watts to the draft and to senior year and just eligibility. So you're going to be able to have Kobe Black come in here and make a huge difference for this Texas team next season. And then you're talking about 2 years down, 3 years down, where a Kobe Black can make a really big difference and be an elite level defensive back for Texas. He is number 4 defensive back in this entire class. So a big get for Sark and this Texas Longhorns team.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much significance it's going to have, just because I don't know if they'll actually use him this way, but we might have a little bit of a Travis Hunter situation going on, because Kobe Black also ran for 432 yards and 5 touchdowns on 48 carries. He caught 8 passes for 281 yards and 2 touchdowns.
No, I know. Look, he's those great high school athletes. They can do both ways.
He play both ways. Yeah.
I don't think he's necessarily. They're going to need him on both ways.
I doubt
at
it.
Texas. I think you want to focus on what he can do.
Right.
But it is nice to see he's athletic. I believe he's also a basketball player and runs track and field.
But it's that scorer's mindset, right? So if he does pick the ball off, he's looking to score.
Yes, he is. He wants to go out there. But yeah, I think those long arms, what he can do on the side, get down there, knock balls away, or make interceptions, is going to be a big get for Texas to get Kobe Black, a great signing for Texas today. Another piece of NCAA football news that came down is that transfers. The transfer, a judge today went up for some cases of NCAA transfers were getting upset because the NCAA's rules on how you can transfer after the first time transfer, they made that where everybody could do it. And then people would say, we want to transfer again. And the NCAA basically doesn't have real rules for it. They kind of pick and choose and everybody gets through. But we saw Tez Walker for North Carolina. He wasn't allowed to play. And then once the entire country said it was stupid, then they finally allowed him to play.
They got bullied into it.
And then eventually he gets hurt, which is sad to see. But but you see, now a judge has passed a ruling, which I believe it's for only 14 days. The NCAA basically said, we're not going to fight this anymore. So now two transfers are going to be okay. You can make that second transfer if you want to, because a lot of these people are, and I think it depends because, we'd love the NCAA to say, oh, well, we're going to regulate this more. We're going to come in and make it a little bit more transparent for the transfers and make it a little bit more transparent for everybody so that we don't have to have a situation where, as we talked about yesterday, people are jumping into a portal expecting a job that has been offered to 5 people or 10 people.
Right.
and I know I have a position on this scholarship, and I don't. And all of a sudden, you're left out, and that NIL money's not there.
And now I can't go back to where I was.
The starting job. And now I've walked away from where I was, which I wasn't too upset about, but I was okay with moving on.
Yeah.
And now I have to go, and if my phone's not ringing and the offers that I'm getting are not the ones, do I have to go basically, how a lot of these kids out of high school are having to sell themselves, and then you have a good enough season. But if you're not, if people don't think they can get you, they may not be calling you.
Yeah, no, it's a tough world these kids are living in, but it's also, we're all exploring this new world of college free agency together, right?
That's what you see. There's more free agency now because you get 2 transfers, and really you can get a third one if you really want it, I'm sure. But
there's some loophole.
But the 2 transfer thing too is for a lot of smaller school guys who want to move up, and they have a good freshman season, and they basically say, okay, now I can go play sophomore year at Power 5. I was in Power 5. Now I can move up to the Power 5. And they move to a small Power 5. And they play 2 seasons there. And they go, okay, well, now I'm really good.
I can go play.
And I can go play at a really high level and try and compete for the NFL, where I couldn't really do that at either of my other places. And it's helping my game and helping improve. Those ones you get a little bit more because, you don't want to say, well, you went to a small town and you didn't get good coaching. And so, or you grew late. And so you weren't recruited out of high school. So that should completely, knock you out of the NFL coverage and NFL draft process. But at the same point, you hate to see it when it's somebody who is consistently unhappy and never really wants to find a home because it's all about them and they don't want to find it. So there's groups, but luckily most of these teams that are competing at a high level and getting these guys in and coaches that stick around for a while are coaches who understand you kind of have to learn how to walk that field of, we're going to have to pay some NIL. We're going to have to hit the transfer portal, but we want to find the right people in it. And if it's somebody going for their second or third transfer and all the reports are everybody did everything for them and they didn't want to do the extra work, that they were, holding it over a coach's head. If you yell at me again, I'll transfer. Or I don't want to run sprints because I'll transfer.
I don't need to be here. I can go play somewhere else.
So those, you get those reports. I'm sure that's happening as well, as much as people that want to play and are doing everything right and feel that they're being left out because a coach has favoritism for some other player. Whether it be that he's friends with his high school coach and he's known the kid and he's had a relationship for the kid, even though he may not be the better player. That happens in college sports as well. So there's a lot of reasons why, you don't want to. There's always going to be in everything in life, there's going to be people that exploit the rule. And there's people that are going to exploit, something that is necessary for others. And so it's a shame when you have to take something completely away. And that's kind of what the transfer portal, originally with the NCAA, they were trying to take away that no one can get out. Even if you had a coach who was, mentally abusive to you and treating you like garbage and everything else and lied to your face and told you you were going to be a starter and then said you don't even get on the field because I like this other kid more than you. That was a thing you could do. So you say, okay, well, for that scenario, you should be able to transfer. But you can't really make it that way until the NCAA decides to, or whatever new organization takes over, decides to have some guidelines around it of, okay, this is when you can do this and tell us why, and we'll have rules and we'll have a committee and we can try and create a better scenario for people to transfer and make it a little bit more transparent with, okay, this, these schools have been contacted. So if you're in the transfer portal, this is how many people have contacted these people, and this is how many people have contacted these people.
Yeah.
So you can see,
keep records.
And like if you're a quarterback and you say, all right, well, they're trying to get me to jump in the portal, and I look and USC has already talked to 17 different quarterbacks, and they're telling me you really want me to jump in the portal, and I look and I go, but you just want me as a backup plan,
right?
I'm like playing C or D for you, and you don't care about my future. I'm not saying that is not. I'm just using USC as an example because they're probably going to
know Caleb Williams is leaving.
Yeah, we all assume Caleb Williams. We assume that So that's the only reason. I'm not saying that they're the people to do this, but in all reality, it's normally the worse. Like the smaller the school, the more messed up it is,
right?
Because those are the coaches that are trying to fight their way up and will do anything to win. Like Jim Harbaugh wasn't cheating. Connor Stallions was cheating. And it got back and it goes up and you have to pay the price because it's your program.
Sure.
But Connor Stallions is the coach who's trying to make it, and he's doing the unethical things, not Jim Harbaugh, who is...
That Harbaugh definitely didn't tell him to do or anything like that.
No, he didn't tell him because why would you tell... If you told him, Jim Harbaugh, go, yeah, just get game... Send somebody... You're going to wear the gear and you're going to do... Come on, man. He would have told him how to do it correctly if he was going to cheat. But no, that's my point. So it's an interesting thing. It's a different day, but for me, it's a good thing in the fact of everything has to accelerate to a point where there has to be a new governing body. And the more that the NCAA is proven in court and proven over and over again that they have no control over anything,
Zero authority.
then it goes more into the commissioner's hands. And then once you realize that none of the commissioners are going to trust anybody because ACC is not going to trust Big Ten or SEC anymore because they got screwed. And, the Big 12 doesn't trust the SEC or the Big Ten because they got screwed.
Sure.
So now everybody in the Big Ten and SEC are going to have to talk to each other and go, okay, we get it. We screwed everybody else. But we need to start setting some rules or else we're getting hurt because we're the big money.
So Mike Craven had an interesting solution to
Okay.
this. I was watching the Eyes on Texas podcast,
Nice.
which you can watch on the Horns YouTube channel, the
Nice.
Horn Austin. He suggested every player gets 5 years of eligibility, flat out. 5 years of
Okay.
eligibility. Every time you transfer, you lose a year of eligibility. So you get 5 if you stay there in the same place if you need all 5 years. But if you transfer, now you have 4 years. And now with this second transfer, if you transfer again, it better work out. That's your last year of eligibility. Do you think that would fix some of the tampering?
No, I mean, the tampering is going to be there because you also got to remember nobody, at the end of the day, you can convince yourself what you're asking for is best for the kid. And whether it is or not,
You'd have to do some gymnastics on some of these coaches.
but not really. Not because they'll sit there and go, well, we're going to win a national championship and I'm going to get you drafted top 5 pick and I'm going to get you all that. Now, once you get in the season, that's all not true. But in their head, it is. In their head, if you come here, that's what, Lincoln Riley told Caleb Williams. You come here, you're winning the Heisman, we're winning a national championship, and you're the number 1 pick in the draft. And he's probably got 2 out of 3 of those.
Sure, and I think it would slow it down a little bit because I think that threat of losing 1 year of eligibility, sure, you still have 4, you get your transfer,
Yeah.
you'd still have those. But I think it would create some serious pause on that second transfer.
I think it would, but I think that these kids, when you're asking a 20-year-old to make a decision, we see how many people are dying from student loans right now.
Yep, yeah.
18 and 19-year-olds making long-term life decisions is not the best idea for you sometimes have to kind of look out and say, okay, this we get, so we don't want to take away. The problem is you can't keep putting the penalty on the player. You have to put the penalty on the organization.
For the kid wanting to get out?
For the tampering.
Oh, okay.
For the fact that they are going to continue to use the transfer portal in the way that they are going to tell 10 people. And again, I'm not naming any school, and I can guarantee you to a certain extent, every school does it.
Oh, yeah. It's impossible to regulate.
So at a certain point, there's an edge to it where I don't mind that. But again, I really am not big on putting the emphasis on the players that, hey, you're 20 years old and you're getting told you're going to make $2 million and you're being told that you're going to be a top 5 NFL pick and you got hurt. But we're not going to give you a medical red shirt. So you're all right. Now you're a 4th round pick. Sorry, you took that second transfer. You got lied to. Situation didn't work out. Your offensive lineman gets hurt. Your season's bad.
I hear you, but you're gonna have that all the time. Like
You're
there
gonna,
is
and
no
I
way
do.
to-
I don't like I don't like that. And when the schools just go, okay, next guy.
And I don't think some of those situations the coach is lying. So to say,
don't think- that's
I
what I'm
think the
saying.
coach really thought it was going to happen, and then it didn't pan out.
And it's not a lie if you believe it. It's a
Ooh.
George Costanza.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of these coaches end up with it. We just got some breaking news there. Appreciate you on the text line. Malik Murphy has entered the transfer portal. And so he's not going to be with the Longhorns at the college football playoff. He would have preferred to stay through the season, but the timing did not allow it. Murphy told ESPN, "It's nothing against Texas at all. I'm doing this purely for me and my future. In my eyes, I will always be a Longhorn and part of this great team."
I think Murphy saw the names that were
he knew.
already-
And this is what we talk about. When you talk about, he sees how many other people are there. And when he's talking, and he understands if he wants to go to USC, if he wants to go to Cal or UCLA or somewhere in that, and wants to go back there, those jobs are going to be filled before before January.
Oh yeah, definitely, because they want to know where they stand.
And if you want to talk about tampering, that's somebody told him in no uncertain terms, "Hey, I talked to so and so, and this I don't know what school this is, can't tell you." But I'm sure his high school coach was said, "I've been told that decision is going to be made before the playoffs." So if you want to have a shot at it, you do it. So not great news. Malik Murphy is transferring. It's not surprising. It would be really bad news if Quinn Ewers doesn't come back. But then you could go into the transfer portal again and try and get somebody else out of it. But it's not surprising news at all, really. But that is the more breaking news. So Kobe Black to Texas, Malik Murphy in the transfer portal is your big Texas news today.
Surely Malik talked to Quinn about this.
Oh, 100%.
Because that impacts the decision so much.
100%. I'm sure he's talked to Quinn. I'm sure he's talked to Sark. I'm sure all these meetings, and look, he clearly has thought about this because he could have jumped in the portal
Right.
a week ago.
He clearly had to talk to Quinn and go, hey, man, you don't have to tell me exactly where you're at, but can I get a heat check? Like,
Yeah.
where are we?
No, I mean, because you look at that. I mean, he could have jumped in before Dylan Gabriel went to Oregon and see if he had a shot at that position,
Right.
which is another East Coast school or West Coast school.
Yeah.
Another school he could go try and get to. No, I get that. It's somewhat disappointing because, you love Malik Murphy. You see the potential there. We wish him the best, though.
It just never worked out for him here. He never had the time. Yeah.
And we know that everybody wanted to go to see Arch. And in reality, it kind of makes it easier on Arch. It makes it easier on Sark that you won't have that crossover anymore. You also have, I believe, 2 scholarship quarterbacks coming in this season now. I believe you got 2 guys that have committed to Texas. So that adds another kind of pressure to you don't want to carry 5 guys on your roster at quarterback and have those scholarships. So it does open up a scholarship for another position.
Yeah, and I imagine when he talked to Sark told him go. Sark
Sark
told
said,
him go, man.
Sark told him
Yeah.
in the best interest, I can't tell you will ever be the starting quarterback at Texas.
Right, I don't think it's going to work.
No, but I can tell you, I cannot promise you
Right.
that you will ever be there.
Right.
And I won't lie to you and tell you that it may be if this and that. I can tell you may never play another game for the Texans, for the Longhorns. That's
so
a reality.
If he's telling you that he's got a spot for you,
Well, if you need to go do that, then
Right.
go do it. If you want to bet on yourself, great. You did it last year, and you got to play some.
Yeah.
But that probably wasn't enough for you either. You were hoping to play a little bit more.
Yeah, well, you earned everybody's respect around here, Malik.
He did. I think in the fact that he stayed this year and was able to get us 2 wins,
Yeah, big time.
is huge. The
That's
fact
huge.
that Texas is in the college football playoffs could be partially to the fact that Malik Murphy was there and able to carry Texas through those 2 games where Quinn Ewers was out before he could come back and start playing again. Like, if you don't have – and then the games where Quinn Ewers is shaky and you do know that you have Malik Murphy back there, it was a big part of this season to have Malik Murphy. So wish him nothing but the best. So some good news, some bad news for Texas today during the show.
Yeah.
Kobe Black's coming in, but Malik Murphy is heading out. Not surprising news in Malik Murphy. We've been asked that a lot.
It's one of those ones where you were just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, right?
Yeah, and it was – I appreciate, too, for him that he did not wait and get kind of missed in the decision.
Yes.
And had to go to a school. Florida State's another one. But I'm just saying, they're looking at guys. Florida State's another school that's a really good football team that's going to need another quarterback next year. Like, these places are going to be filled before January.
Yeah, no doubt.
And if he wants to put his name into where he can play on a school that can be in that top 12 next year, for sure, then he needs to put his name in now as opposed to being there for the backup. And I mean, and for Sarkin too, you're going to put Malik in those 2s, but Arch is the 3. And, for working forward to next season, Arch now can work with the 2s.
There's a ton of West Coast options available.
It does mean, I will tell you this, it does mean that now coverage of Texas football in these playoff games, every TV network is hoping for a Quinn Ewers injury.
Oh, come on.
Well, I'm not. But come on, that conversation is going to be had.
No, I don't even want to bring it up. I'm not going to continue this conversation. I'm not going to put that out there.
What? I agree
oh
with
my
you.
goodness, what is wrong with you?
I don't agree. I agree with you. It's a terrible thing, these TV networks and what they want to do.
Stop. Why would you put that out there?
I'm not putting it out there.
You did though.
I'm
You
not
did
putting it out
exactly
there.
that.
I'm not putting it out there.
Good luck, Longhorns fans. Blame Patrick.
I'm no Chad Hastings. No, but we but yeah, sad news that Malik Murphy's moving on, but good for him. And thanks to everything he's done here for the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, huge shout out.
Let's take one more break real quick, and we'll come back and wrap up the show here on the Sports Complex on the Horn 1019 AM 1260, the Horn app, and hornfm.com. Back on the Sports Complex, wrapping things up here on a Wednesday night. Jacob, it is Wednesday today.
It is Wednesday. I get to go home and watch Survivor. So I got to jet out of here as soon as
So
we're
who
done.
won Survivor?
I don't know yet.
Oh, I don't
It
know.
comes on tonight, not yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're going to wrap up the show. We did get the news. If you just missed it, you're just joining us here at the end. Kobe Black is coming. He is committed to Texas, but Malik Murphy has entered his name into the transfer portal, will not be available for Texas in the championship games. It goes along with my theory that he could be playing a bowl game for another team.
Ooh.
He could be.
Wow.
'Cause he's not going to be here. He can't play for us.
Okay, so hear me out. We'll put 60 numbers into
No.
a hat. Okay.
No.
All right.
My man Chan says, think Sark will help Malik land at another school, wondering, I'm 100% Sark would do anything to help out Malik Murphy and get
Whatever
him in the
call
place.
he needs to field, all that.
I have no doubt that Sark is looking forward to Malik Murphy's success in wherever he goes. This is not a problem of, everything I've known about Sark and the person that I met and the
they got
person
the Cali connection.
well, yeah, but it's just he's not a guy to worry. He goes, look, yeah, if you're, we want you to be happy. And we
Yeah.
also want to show people that if you come to Texas and it's not your, then cool.
Yeah.
But come here first.
Right. Let us see.
Let's put you in that position.
Right.
And then again, we said if he didn't come in those games, Arch Manning has a lot of potential, but consistency has been a key for him. And that's kind of the reports out of everybody there that, he could have cost Texas a game just because he's a freshman. And, throwing an ill-advised pass into a game where he's playing against a school that, he's not used to what the coverage is.
Not only that, it's not like Malik came here, sat for a season, now he's gone. Like, the dude competed.
He did.
legitimately competed.
And he came back last
and then
year.
stuck around.
When Arch came in, he could have left last year. He came back.
Right.
So really a lot of love to Malik. We do get someone that says Malik to Ohio State. I don't know if that's the case. I would assume he is going west.
I don't think he's going east.
I would assume he's going west, but it is a big school, and if they want to bring him in, all reports earlier, Cam Ward would be the guy that would be going to Ohio State, but Malik Murphy is now in the portal.
That's
so
before Malik Murphy was available.
and from what I've heard, at least from the basketball side, there was a guy that put out an article about it, about how it worked, and he basically put his name in the portal, said he was entering in the portal, did the paperwork, and then it takes a little bit for the process to go through.
Sure.
And then once you're on the actual thing, he was like, my phone just started to ring off the hook. Because once it went through that this guy who was a senior, like a grad senior at basketball and a good player, it was Brady Manick, who ended up going to North Carolina. He was playing for Oklahoma, went to North Carolina. But he was like, you don't really know what's happening.
Yeah.
You put your name in, and then you don't know when it goes through, but you know when it goes through.
Right.
Because all of a sudden everybody starts calling you and it's like, hey. And from smaller schools to bigger schools, everyone's trying to get on there and everyone's trying to be the first one in and everybody's trying to. So at some point, probably tomorrow, maybe Friday, Malik Murphy's phone, he will be a very busy, popular person.
He's suiting up for the bowl game wherever he's going.
But good to see him there. And yeah, wish him the best. Absolutely. I do like my man, Chief Engineer, is curious about Jacob's playlist because we make fun of him because he doesn't know any of the songs. By the way, so Chief Engineer says, is it all Charlie XCX? I asked him in the break, and he didn't know Charlie XCX was, Chief Engineer. Didn't even know.
I will tell you this, because he asked about music and movies. My music playlist would probably not impress you, but I would enjoy putting together a top 10 of movies. I think a top 10 movie list for me would do better. It's my field of work anyway. I do video production. I love movies. I'll get one of those put together for you, Chief Engineer.
Chief Engineer, we may have you pick the theme of the week and pick some music at one point, though.
Okay.
We may have you do that just to let these people know how small of a window.
Have y'all ever heard of Kids Bop?
the Miss Jackson video?
Yeah.
That is the best Kids Bob version right there. That little white kid singing Miss Jackson.
Yeah, we'll do
Fantastic stuff.
Lovely melody of Kids Bop and Teletubbies, and we'll figure it out from there.
All right. We got to get out of here. Appreciate thanks to Jelly Ellington for coming in to talk about the party. It's going to be tomorrow night, 3:10 at ACL Live. When I get done here tomorrow night, we're wrapping it up. We'll talk some more about tomorrow, play some more songs. But we'll go and do that. And then I'm headed straight to 3:10 at ACL Live tomorrow to support that great cause. But until then, until tomorrow, until the show tomorrow, we're going to talk more Texas football, more NFL, get you ready for Thursday night football. Get you ready for all the great action that's coming up here. We'll get you back to the Sports Complex. Until then, be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow at 4 p.m. on the Sports Complex on the Horn.